Hello, everyone. Today we are talking about our next Willet stained glass window in St. Joseph's Episcopal Church. And today we are going to be talking about a very special window. And that is this particular window that is on the north side of our nave. And it depicts the miracle of the wedding feast at Cana. So this would be the window that is the furthest towards the side transept door by the parish hall. It begins this series of miracle windows that are located there. So I just wanted to give us some idea of the location for those of you who might not know where the city of Cana is located, where that wedding feast would have been. But as you go from the town of Nazareth, approximately, I would guess, 9 miles, here you see the Basilica of the Annunciation and the road that goes there. And those of us that some years ago were privileged to go on our pilgrimage to the Holy Land drove this particular road, which was a rather interesting road that went through these different places and towns up to the northeast of Nazareth to the town of Cana. And as you approach the town of Cana, there is an actual church there that has been placed, and it becomes the traditional place where people go to be on pilgrimage and to renew their marriage vows. And of course, we had that opportunity to do that when we went there. Here you see Bob and Charlotte Lees on the left, myself and Dee in the middle, and John and Mary Lou Eastham there also, having that opportunity to renew marriage vows in that special place. Here is the story itself, and it comes to us from John's Gospel, so I'd like to read it for us. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now standing there were 6 stone water jars for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. When the steward tasted the water that had become wine and did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of his signs, in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. One of the things that is amazing about these windows is the faithfulness to the stories in the Gospels that the author who created these windows, the artist, took great pains to making sure that what is actually written in the scriptures is correctly and accurately displayed in the windows. And what you might want to do right now, it's almost like playing a little game of, can you find this in the photo, like you see, can you find this in the drawing in the newspaper? The gospel mentions that there are 6 water jars used for the Jewish rites of purification. You might want to pause the video right now as you're watching it and see if you can find the 6 water jars in this particular window. And then after you do that, of course, I'll give you the answers. As we usually do, though, we like to talk about the wonderful donors who made these windows possible. And this particular window, as you see, was given by Howard and Janet Riley. And as with most of our windows, it is difficult to find any information about these particular people other than the fact that they were members of St. Joseph's. And looking through the files of St. Joseph's, we can see, as you see, the name of Howard and Janet Riley in the middle of our Paris registry page. And you see that they came to us in 1958 from St. Philip's in Coral Gables, and they transferred to St. Thomas, Miami Church in December of 1970. Now, what is interesting to me is these windows were installed in 1970. So perhaps this was a going away present that these people gave to St. Joseph as they were moving to the Miami area of our diocese. So here we come back to the water jars, and here you see I have circled the 6 as they appear in the stained glass window. Now, obviously in the story, they talk about pouring some out of the water jars to take to the wine steward. So we really don't know if that third from the left jar would be depicting the water jar, or if the one that the guy is holding is the actual water jar, pouring it into that particular vessel to take to the steward. There's the one on the left, so we're going to go from left to right. There's the second one close up. There's the third one. Of course, you see above it the wine being poured into it. There's the fourth, and right above the fourth one, that's the hard one sometimes for people to find, is the fifth one right there. And then the sixth one over on the far right of the stained glass window. It's a very beautiful depiction of this, the first miracle of Jesus. And we can get a bit of a close-up of the people who are involved in this story. Over on the left, the mother of Jesus was there. So we aren't sure which, but probably because she is in blue and she's closest to Jesus, or the other disciples there. So obviously, since it's a wedding, you would have had men and women. But chances are this one in blue would be Mary, the mother of Jesus. Over on the right, here we see the steward tasting the water that has become wine. And then right behind him, you see the bride. And for all intents and purposes, it must be the bridegroom, who is immediately to the left of the bride. And of course, the words that then he's going to say is, most people serve the good wine first, and yet you have left this incredible wine till later. Here we see a little bit of a close-up of that wine being poured out. Of course, the gospel story tells us that he was instructed by Jesus to pour the wine out and then take some to the wine steward. It's a very beautiful window. And of course, we hear in this gospel story, this is the only gospel that records this miracle of Jesus. And it's in John chapter 2, as we heard. And that story begins by the words, on the third day. And it would have been the third day since Jesus had found Philip and said to him, follow me. And that story ends with Jesus saying, do you believe because I told you that I saw you under the fig tree, you will see greater things than these. And of course, what then follows is now they start to see greater things. Here is the first miracle that shows that Jesus has power over nature, turning water into wine. As we proceed down that north side of our nave, the different miracle windows are going to increasingly show Jesus's power. And it is going to end, as it does in John's gospel, with the greatest sign of Jesus's power even over death. Because the last window we are going to end up looking at down the road is Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead. So here we get the first miracle of Jesus. We are going to continue to progress, and eventually we will see the greatest miracle of Jesus as well, with the raising of Lazarus. A beautiful window, and I hope when you are able to observe it in our church, it will be a new experience for you, as we have had this opportunity to share some explanation of it. Thanks for joining us.